In this episode, I'm speaking with some of London's top technology leaders about Elon Musk's new AI chatbot, the man who accidentally threw away 227 million in Bitcoin, Amazon's new 1-hour drone delivery, the rise of AI profile pictures, and the exciting news surrounding GTA 6. Welcome back to the podcast.
The Alfie Whattam podcast.
Okay, so starting off with Mr. Musk. Elon Musk has launched an AI ChatGPT rival. The former co-founder of OpenAI has released Grok, an AI chatbot under his new xAI company. Gentlemen, interesting news in the world of AI. Why don't we start with yourself, Nick? What's your just general impressions of Elon, launching a ChatGPT competitor?
It's very interesting, given his very strong stance and his exit from OpenAI and his very vocal stance around how AI should be controlled and should be highly regulated and monitored, and his general resistance to it. So I found it very interesting to see him come up with this announcement. But hey, it's Elon, so I think at this point everyone's just waiting their breaths and watching how this will go.
Yeah.
We had high hopes with his acquisition of Twitter, which has unfolded in a very interesting and a unique way. I would love to see how Grok differentiates itself from the established players in the market. Now, Elon is saying Grok has a personality. I think that'll be super cool, but is that going to be enough for Grok to stand on? And that's what I'd love to see.
Yeah, I agree about the personality side. I thought that something was really interesting. Sam Altman tweeted a picture of one of the new GPT Turbo personalities where it's just like imitated Grok. So he's made that product part of his existing suite, right? But yeah, it's got Elon's kind of personality. It's a bit quirky, it's a bit different, and it's definitely enough to make it stand out, on the marketplace and go, oh, this is not just a like Bard, just like another clone of GPT. But what's your take, James, when you see what Elon's doing here?
First thing I say is that I think it's good that there is another competitor in the AI space, right? Like in the LLM space, ChatGPT, as far as I can see, and OpenAI are so far ahead of the competition.
Yeah.
So to have something out there that is at least trying to get, some market share, I think it is different, right? Like your point, Nick, like the personality's there, super sarcastic. I quite like it. It feels a bit kind of memey rather than a serious tool, and that's from someone who uses OpenAI hours per day.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, would I actually use this over that? But equally, it's got the differentiator of having access to live Twitter data or X data, right? Yeah. Which is one of the main problems with ChatGPT right now. And I know they've put in browsing and stuff like that, but the fact that it's pulling from that, I think they gave it an example of SBF's trial and kind of summarizing that from like literally the day it happened on X.
Yeah.
And it was pretty accurate. It hallucinated a couple of things, like it got like the amount of like trial hours wrong and things like that. But generally it was a pretty fair summary. So that's a powerful tool, right? If you're looking to kind of summarize current events like that, that's a pretty good differentiator. So my opinion is that it's great. I think needs some more work, but like a great innovation.
So a lot of people are saying it might be too late for Elon because OpenAI have collected so much data and they're using that to create really accurate answers. Obviously the hallucination is still there. Interesting point around live access to X, that might be a bit of a USP, but essentially the more data an AI company has, the better it is really. And GPT has got so much with DALL-E and Whisper and so many other products and features which xAI just doesn't have yet, right? And also the team. xAI has got a very, very small, super talented team, but OpenAI has got a much bigger army to play with.
Sure.
If we had to make almost guesstimates here, who's going to win the AI war? Is it going to be Bard with Google? Is it going to be, which is surprising? I'm surprised Sundar Pichai didn't really kill it with AI really, but it's a separate topic. But could it be Google? Could it be Microsoft? Could it be Elon? Could it be a marketplace where we have a couple of winners in a few years from now, or is it going to be more like a Google, dominating search situation, and then you've got like Bing and a few others in the background? If we had to just make random guesses here, what are we thinking? Who's going to come out on top? What would you say, James?
I think currently of the big tech, Microsoft are killing it. I put a tweet out actually saying this, is that Microsoft is so far ahead with their acquisitions in so many different fields, but particularly with OpenAI, right? I think they have a 49% stake as far as I remember. I do think OpenAI are pretty far ahead for the kind of short to medium term. So in terms of who's going to dominate, I would say OpenAI will dominate this, and by extension Microsoft, since they have such a large share in that organization. Yeah. I think like Google and the others, and X, I suppose, as well, like they are trying, but Google's historic downfall, as far as I can see, is that like they invented like a lot of the technologies that power these LLMs, like they put the research out, but they haven't capitalized on it at all. And like other companies have come in and in a very short time period actually built a kind of market product. So I don't see them catching up unless they have like a product that is, really one up something else or really differentiates itself. Bard is just not as good as, I'd probably say, either Grok or OpenAI. That's my opinion.
What's your take, Nick?
I would agree with James, but I think for different reasons. OpenAI has Microsoft as its solid partner, and Microsoft knows enterprises. Yeah. If there's one company that knows enterprises, that does enterprises very well, it's Microsoft on this planet, right? Yeah. And Microsoft, all credit to them, they moved very, very fast. When ChatGPT was announced, they made the right number of investments, acquisitions. At the speed with which a company at the scale of Microsoft has moved to integrate OpenAI and GenAI in their products, whether it's Azure, whether it's Windows Copilot, whether it's Office, whether it's their GitHub acquisition, GitHub Copilot, I think that speed has been breathtakingly phenomenal. And just by the sheer virtue of them knowing the enterprise space so well, and the speed with which they have executed this, and just the strategy with which they have executed this, I think they definitely have a much further step ahead than anyone else in the space. Yeah. Now I know Google is trying, and so is Musk with Grok. But is that enough? Is that good enough? Are they too late to the party? I guess we will know in future. But equally, I think it also comes down to how you define the victor here. I mean, who is the victor? Is that someone with the most number of active users or most number of hours per day? I think that will also be interesting, because while Microsoft can do a lot of enterprises, I think one person who can do viral stuff better is Musk. So Musk can get Grok in the hands of a far greater number of people than Microsoft can get ChatGPT in the hands of. Yeah. So I think it depends on the metric you will use to define a victor. But certainly from a commercial enterprise point of view, I think Microsoft and OpenAI have a very good lead.
Yeah, I mean, really interesting point around Musk, because if they just give access, like Grok access to X users as an add-on, then instantly you've got hundreds of millions of people, using it. And imagine writing a tweet or a post or whatever it's called now, and then there's features where you can click a button and have an AI image created, or an AI video, or even the tweets written by AI. There's so many functionalities that could happen here. Yeah. That'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Hey, this podcast is brought to you by WeLoveAlpha.com. If you're looking to grow and hire and scale your software engineering team in the UK, then go to WeLoveAlpha.com to hire the best software developers on the market. Everything across Java to C# to PHP to Python to React and Angular and mobile and more. Go to WeLoveAlpha.com to hire the best software engineers in the UK now.
Before we had the AI hype, I guess the previous hype was all around crypto and blockchain, and that leads us into our next story. So can AI find lost 227 million Bitcoin fortune? So a man who lost hundreds of millions on a accidentally binned hard drive is now trying to use AI to find it, but the council will not let him. Typical council.
Yeah, who needs money?
Yeah. Just to give a little bit more context here. So the individual lost the hard drive, and he's used AI to calculate roughly where it would be I guess in the landfill, in the skip or whatever, and he's offered to give a percentage of the money to the council if they're able to just let him in for a couple of days and dig it all up. And he believes that it's there. I mean, that might be hopium, it might be destroyed. I mean, who knows? But I can't imagine losing hundreds of millions in crypto. I've got a bit of crypto. It's certainly not hundreds of millions, but yeah, terrible situation. I feel for the guy, which this camera's on me, right? I feel for you, my friend. Like empathy, gratitude. I hope you're okay. But if you want to come on the pod and talk about it, then let's go for it. But what are your takes on this, chaps? What do you think, Nick?
Well, I'm speechless on this. On one side, yeah, empathy with you, mate. Very sorry to see you in this situation, but also, how did you put yourself in this situation?
How do you lose a hard drive?
How can you lose 100 million?
227 million currently. I mean, it's up and down, right? But
yeah. And equally though, I think I would be cautious here in what I say, but it seems a little bit far-fetched. And there's just, while I can imagine how you might use AI for special mapping of the landfill and patterns of dumping into the usage and try to predict where the location of the hard drive is. It is a hard drive, it's magnetic material. And landfill is full of stuff that is kryptonite to magnetic material. Is this even worth the chase? Assuming you find the hard drive, have you done any probabilistic calculations on how sure or confident you are that it is still usable? It's been there for decades, right? About a decade or so?
I don't know how long it's been there for, but even if it was just there for a year, the rain, everything that happens and all the other stuff getting mixed in there, I mean, surely it's been destroyed. Surely.
Yeah, but I feel for you.
Yeah. What do you think? Is he an idiot or is he?
I don't think he's an idiot. I cast my mind back to when Bitcoin and crypto were starting, and it's easy to forget because of the ecosystem now what it was actually like to hold Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies back then. You typically had to have a physical device wallet, so like a hard drive, like a USB, something like that, right? Because I tried to buy some, and I was like, this is, when I was 14, I was like, this is complicated. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. So I empathize with the guy because I can see how you would make a physical wallet and then lose that, right? I think the headlines grab because it's like 227 million, but it's equally like if the guy had access to that crypto, he probably would have sold it by now. So it's it's a double-edged sword because it's only worth 227 million, probably because he didn't have access to it. So that's kind of something to consider.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
In terms of how likely it is that he's actually going to get access to this, I think really unlikely, to be honest. He's done, it's hard to say without the context of his own calculations. I would say a hard drive is pretty volatile, right? I've built PCs for years for all sorts of purposes, and hard drives go wrong, being sat inside a computer, right? And they can, so the fact that it's buried under landfill is, my hopes are low. But equally, I respect the hustle on this one. I think there is potentially a 227 million fortune there. It's a bit like a kind of pirate treasure hunt.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the one doing it.
Would you let it slide? Because for me, this could consume your life, and you would think about nothing else other than the fact that on paper I'm worth hundreds of millions, yet I'm working 60 hours a week doing a normal job and getting paid 40k a year or something, right? If this was you, could you mentally let this go, or would it ruin your life? Basically, what do you chaps think?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. But also, I just want to go back to your old point. I think there's also learning for us as a country here. If this was America, we would not be having this conversation. They would have already dug it out.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, this is us here sitting saying, the council is not letting me dig through a pile of rubbish to get 227 million pounds. Imagine having that conversation in America. This would have been over with, right? Now, I think as a country, we need to learn to at least take, as we would say in Amazon, it's a two-way door decision. Yeah. Right? Dig it up, either you find it or you won't. Schrodinger's cat, you've solved the problem. Why are we sitting and talking about it? Just get on with it, right? Yeah. And whatever environmental concerns you have, They're all valid. Let's find a way to solve them. Let's not talk about the problem. Let's go to the solution. And I would actually go and say, find a way to dig it and answer the question. But to go back to your question, Alfie, yeah, this will, I guess, initially it will consume me because it's not a small amount of money. But equally, I think I'd probably be pushing and pushing and pushing until I get to the dig myself.
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, the point where I give up would be when I get arrested for breaking in the middle of the night and then digging myself with a shovel. At that point, I'd probably call it a day, but and try and put it into a different coin or something. But what would you do?
I'm glad it's not me.
Yeah.
But if it were me, I think I'm a fairly stubborn bloke, so I would probably be like you, Nick, and I would not stop until I had some movement on this. I think, but equally though, if this guy's investing his own cash into this, I think that's a really dangerous path, right? Like somebody in his friends or his family needs to be like, okay, at what point, don't get gambler's fallacy on this one. Like, call it quits when, it is time. So I'm glad it's not me, because it would consume me.
Yes, no, I feel you. Hey, really quick video just to give you a free subscription to Koda magazine. Koda is the #1 publication for all the latest tech news, expert insights, and exclusive industry interviews. With Koda, you get the inside scoop on what's happening with Elon Musk, with Bill Gates, with Jeff Bezos, with Mark Zuckerberg, and so much more. So if you work in the technology industry, then I'd highly recommend that you give Koda a read today. Just scan the QR code on the screen for free access now, or go to welovealpha.com/magazine to get your free subscription today. You mentioned Amazon a second ago, Nick, where you used to work, right? And that leads us to our next story, really, because Amazon have planned a 1-hour drone delivery. We've talked about this on the pod a couple of times over the years, but now it's starting to really happen. So the online retail giant will launch the concept in the United Kingdom at the end of 2024. And currently Amazon are great because you can, you've got Prime, you click a button and then boom, the next day it's there, or even the same day in many situations. But imagine 1 hour. Imagine that'd be amazing, clicking a button and then in an hour, not just for the convenience of having toilet paper or food or whatever. Imagine medical supplies or there's so many use cases here where this could benefit society. What are your takes on this? You were kind of involved. I don't know how much you can say, Nick, but give us your perspective as a former insider.
So Amazon, everything we do at Amazon, we used to do at Amazon. I moved out of Amazon about 2 years ago. Customer obsession is the heart and soul of everything that Amazon does, right? Every initiative is planned first and foremost for the customers. So just as you said, Alfie, I think there's just so much goodness here. Medical supplies, things you need at the last minute. It's amazing what Amazon is trying to do. And I don't know how much people have read about the articles yet, but Amazon is doing that in US already, I believe, at least in 2 cities. Yeah. And they're launching in UK. Now, I was a part of this pilot program back when I was at Amazon, and part of my house was used with the drones to map the algorithms which the drones would use to find the right spots for drops. So I've been a part of this program. I think it's fairly interesting, fairly exciting, lots of goodness for customers. Equally though, just back on the topic of what we were discussing, how viable would it be given the laws in the United Kingdom, and how practical would this be for Amazon to pull it off? I think that's something interesting we would watch. But as far as the customer value proposition of this initiative goes, I think it's a game changer. Yeah, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, it could have even a bigger impact than Prime did, really, in terms of the benefit this could bring the customers. And you're right, customer obsession is what Jeff Bezos cares about. That and the cowboy hat. I don't know if you've seen this meme that's going around. But, we'll show a picture of that on the screen right now. But
it's triggered something in you, that cowboy hat.
I don't know, I love it. It's like billionaire, jacked cowboy, perfect. We talked about drones when you were last on the podcast. What's your take on this story, James?
I think it's great. I think it shows, per Nick's comments, the innovation that Amazon still has, the obsession to always get better, right? They already have the most advanced logistics fleet, probably globally. So the fact that they're continuing to innovate and not just say, okay, we'll just rake in the cash, and to improve is, incredibly impressive, and shows that actually the people there and Bezos himself are like that obsessed, right? In terms of what it means from a customer, so obviously I buy loads of stuff from Amazon. Yeah. What's the frustrations with Amazon? Like, generally it's there next day. So how does the 1 hour thing affect it? I think great, right? So if you get stuff in your hands faster, if I want something and it's like, being able to walk to the shop and get it, brilliant. In terms of like what the actual kind of aerial drone delivery method means, I think, like, if you think about one of the most core frustrations of van delivery, it's like, okay, I'm not in, they put it somewhere weird. Like, you're basically reliant on the driver to make that final decision point. Yeah. Whereas if you're doing it via drone, you're automating that. You're creating an algorithm, you're saying, okay, actually, we can decide where the best spot is, or you can say where the best spot is in your house, and the drone will respect that. That's taking like a core frustration of the customer journey and making it better. So personally, I think this is fantastic, like a great innovation. If it can actually scale, wonderful. I don't know too much about the laws and the regulations in the UK that prohibit this. I know they are, I've seen the US ones, per what Nick said. They are really loud, and obviously
they're really loud.
The UK is a much more dense country than the US is in general. So I think that's a concern. So, how would they manage, the fact that you can't even, like, Heathrow can't land flights after whatever it is, 11 p.m.
Sure,
so how, if that's their, thousands of feet up. So if a drone's really loud, how are they going to manage that? How are they going to do timings? Yeah. Questions, but I'm sure stuff that could be resolved.
I have an interesting story about that Heathrow and the flight thing.
Oh, yeah?
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So when I was very new to UK, I hadn't moved in here yet. I was visiting on a work trip. And our flight was, I think, 6:30, 7 a.m. in the morning. So my wife and decided, well, we'll check out the night before and we'll just spend the night at Heathrow shopping. So we came to Heathrow about 11:30, 11:45, only to be told that Heathrow shuts down at night. Yeah. Right? So here we are with our luggage, standing outside Heathrow going, what the hell? And this was winters. So we spent the night on the pavement outside Heathrow. No. Till about 5:30 when Heathrow actually opens and they let you in.
I'm sure your wife loved you, mate.
We both said, never again. We're not coming back to UK ever again. And here we are.
And here we are in London.
We spent the whole night there sitting outside Heathrow in pouring rain with our luggage saying, oh no. Never expecting an airport like Heathrow to be shut down in the night.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Like Heathrow, just like modelling that for London, I see this being a lot harder to do in London with all the skyscrapers, as opposed to, I'm from York, right? Very rural area. Your CEO Joe is from Yorkshire as well. Yeah. This would work great there, right?
Yeah.
This would be a challenge in London. I think the obsession with getting stuff to the customer and getting the best experience possible is what Jeff really built the company on. I remember watching an interview with him a few years back where he said, look, at Amazon, there's only three things that we really, really care about. Quality, speed, and price. Quality, really great products and having a great selection. People are always going to want, great products and a selection of them. Speed, people are always going to want products delivered faster. You're never going to have somebody say, oh, I wish it took an extra day or two for it to arrive, right? And price, people always want, low cost and you don't want to pay more for something if you can get it cheaper, right? So, this is really just an extension of the speed value that Amazon has, right? What would you say to that, Nick? Because you actually spent a couple of years working there, right? So
yeah, I was there for a good 4.5 years or so, and everything you said is true, Alfie. Amazon is built on customer obsession, and honestly, you can't do an initiative there which does not give value back to customers. And I can't go into details, but I've actually run programs and initiatives myself where we actually return money to customers. Voluntarily, willingly, without customers knowing this themselves. So Amazon, everything that Amazon does, customer obsession is the heart soul of it. And I love and I miss working at Amazon because of this some days. So I'm absolutely certain that this initiative has been thought first and foremost from the lens of customers, and this will be a hugely interesting thing for customers to have. Now, yes, the problems in London are true. I think the way they are planning for this to work in UK is, to your point, James, you get, as a customer, you have a QR code.
Okay.
You put that QR code where you want the drone to drop the delivery, and the drone will come, scan for that QR code and drop the delivery there. Yeah. Now, how you would scale this to blocks of flats, or shared living spaces, I think it's a problem to be solved. But yeah, I think for the great number of people who don't have those living arrangements, this could really be a significant boost to their shopping experience with Amazon.
I don't know how much you can say about this, but I've done similar stories like this on the pod before with other competitors, and I've seen everything from the drone going down and dropping off the product in a box, and then people take it out of the box and then it flying away with the box. I've seen it where a bit of string comes down and it has the item attached, and the QR code seems to be like the most common way of doing it. So I guess one thing that I always am a little bit concerned about when it comes to drones is that people in the UK, I guess other countries might be a little bit better than we are at this sort of thing, but if a bunch of teenagers, if I was like 15 and I saw one of these drones, I am slingshotting that thing down. That's mine, right? Yeah. It's a bit like, I guess you could make the argument with like Lime scooters and you know, that sort of thing, but do you see that being a problem? Because these are expensive bits of kit, I imagine, right? If it's huge, if it's making a lot of noise, if it's got, you know, AR technology to scan stuff, do you think people are going to start stealing these and and knocking them out the sky and stuff? Is that something that you thought about?
I saw the very early prototype of this drone when the studies were being conducted at my house, right? Yeah. This is not your average commoditized drone. Yeah. This is a serious machine. Yeah. Which is equipped with a lot of sensors and a lot of flight guiding technology. I'll just leave it there, to be honest. But this is a serious piece of kit, Alfie. This is a serious drone.
It can be tracked. It can, you know, people will steal it. They're gonna.
It does make a lot of noise, actually. So I share that concern. Yeah. It does make a lot of noise, or at least that initial prototype did. Yeah. When they were flying it up and down in my garden, I was like, oh my God, this is loud. and one of my neighbors actually came and rang the bell, asking if everything was okay. Wow. Because it does sound like a huge machine making a lot of whirring noise. Like a mini chopper, if you will. But I'm sure this is about 3 years ago. Yeah. So I'm sure they have moved on from them. Okay. But this is a serious piece of kit. I wouldn't worry about slingshotting it down.
Okay. What about you? Would you give it a go? Would you try and nick one of these?
Considering where I grew up, there was definitely some dodgy parts. I could see people trying, right? I suppose, like, look, I haven't seen the UK prototype ones. I've only seen the US ones, and they were huge. Yeah. So I don't know how, you know, I'm going to go on Nick's first-hand evidence to say this is a serious piece of kit, hard to steal. Will that stop people trying to do stuff? I would say no. Like, per your example of like the Lime bikes and all those and the scooters, like they get vandalized and destroyed all the time. Now that's obviously a much more simple machine. I think people will try. I think Amazon will probably, you know, maybe if they have problem areas, like really dense urban areas where they always have issues with this, they'll just say, we're not going to do that, and actually we'll stick to delivering to, you know, the shires, so to say, and that will be a better model for them. Yeah. Because that's probably their biggest cost center for logistics anyway, probably. But yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have an interesting one. So, can AI profile pictures get you a job? Will this technology replace the need for professional headshot photographers? Sorry, Alex, you're in trouble, mate. This picture of me, and we'll show it on the screen, is not real. So I uploaded hundreds of pictures of myself from every angle. You can tell it's a little bit off, but
let's have a look.
We've been making these for social media posts, and within an hour we can create a month's worth of content. GPT for the text, and this type of tech for the pictures, right? And a lot of people are saying they've been using these professional pictures to, you know, make their LinkedIn pages look better, or their Tinder pages, perhaps. You know, you can use it for a number of reasons, right?
Hey, what's Tinder?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm married myself. So. But a lot of people are saying this is obviously quite an interesting thing because it's only going to get better. Like, this is not going to get worse than what it is, and it's already pretty fucking good. So you know, there's only one way it can go from here. But the topic is can AI profile pictures get you a job? But really the topic is this the future of photography? Really? What do you think, James, when you see that picture?
I think, like, to answer the question, can a AI profile picture get you a job? Like, broad strokes, yes, I would say, because
it can help.
Like, it can help, right? Because I think, like, having an image that is conducive to the type of work that you do, I think, is important. This is why kind of like celebrities, and they care so much about their brand image, right? And they control that very closely. And if you take that example that you've shown there, that looks like you, right? Like had I not, we've met a few times, so I know what you look like, right? But like if that's the image that you see, and then I meet you for the first time, I'm not going, oh, that's wildly different from that picture. Sure. And it's a nice picture, looks professional, you look good in that. So it's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm just being nice.
I'll pay you later.
And exactly. But like the point is that how is that actually really different from what people have been doing for really the last 10 years with Instagram filters and Snapchat filters and
Photoshop.
Photoshop. It's no different. It's just automating the process, in my opinion. I think, yes, if you use it for nefarious reasons and it's like completely wildly off, then okay, that's not a great thing. But people catfish all the time across like the dating app scene, honestly, across LinkedIn anyway. So I think, like overall, I think it's just an evolution of touching up photos, which people have been doing probably since photos ever existed. I mean, I think if you only go way back, people have been touching up, retouching photos, doing all sorts of stuff. It's just next evolution. It's just an application of AI, and it's a good application.
Yeah. What do you think?
I completely agree with everything James said. I mean, that's why you go to a professional photographer, right? Have the right lighting, have your image taken with the right props, get it done up, professionally edited so you could look good on your LinkedIn profile or whatever other system you're using to propagate your image. And I think, as James, you rightly said, what this is doing is automating that process. Now, is it morally wrong? Probably not, because Alfie, if you wanted to take that picture, you would wear a suit like that. You would go to a studio somewhere where a professional photographer will take that mugshot and then professionally edit it using something like an Adobe Photoshop or image editing tool. And what this AI tool is doing is saving you that hassle. So if I put my customer obsession hat back on, as a customer, I think it's brilliant. It saves me that hassle. And imagine the possibilities, the opportunities this opens for people who can't really afford 100, 200 quid photo shoot for their CVs or their job profiles, right? This gives them that opportunity which has not been made possible for them so far with conventional methods. And equally, I think for professional photographers, this is a tool that they should really, really put in their toolkit. And you could, if I were a professional photographer, I might just come up with a package, 30 quid, 20 quid package, which is, look, I'm going to use Gen AI. You send me, I'll take the headache away from you. You send me your images and I will use them and Gen AI to give you your portfolio images. So that a normal person who's probably not that tech savvy or was not comfortable, flapping around with Gen AI systems, still has that human touch point of an expert who can do it on their behalf, but at a much reduced cost than has been possible before. So I think there's a win-win here.
It's a co-pilot currently, rather than a replacement for a photographer. I really see this being probably a free built-in feature to every social media platform. When you upload your profile picture, it will go, hey, here's 20 variations. Maybe I'm thinking too far ahead there, but do you see that being a possibility where you update your ex profile picture and then it's like, hey, what do you want to wear? Do you want to wear, suit, casual? Do you want to be going snowboarding? Do you think that's going to be a possibility where people taking pictures, almost like selfies, kind of not goes away, but it becomes less about the selfie and more about you take one or two pictures and then boom, AI's created it all for you instantly without having to go to a photographer. It's just done in the background. Do you see that being a possibility? 100%,
and I can talk to this quite deeply because in our zero gravity sign up flow, bearing in mind our kind of user profiles are young people 18 to 22. The biggest blocker in our sign up is the profile picture selection stage. If you can believe it, that is the point that people drop off the most because they spend ages choosing. And this is not even like a dating profile or this is a zero gravity profile. Okay, so it's like it's got to, but people spend forever there. And what we did was we didn't do like AI versions of it, but we just allowed you to choose an avatar, and that dramatically dropped the amount of time that people are spending on the page, and actually a huge number are users just pick an avatar just to get going, right? So I think like that's a great feature to be able to say, okay, like just put a picture of your face in here and then we'll kind of make it cool and we'll put it in a different scenario. Then I think that would that would be a great feature for any product, I think. So I would say that is the next step.
What are your thoughts, Nick?
Very interesting, actually, James. That was your biggest roadblock.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
super interesting.
It makes
But
sense
yeah,
though, for
it
young,
makes
young
sense.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Young
yeah.
people,
It
yeah.
makes complete sense when I think about it. So, and well done on solving it in the way you've solved it, man. Like, honestly, well done. No, again, completely agree with James on this. Alfie, nothing more to add. We can probably move on. You've got it well.
Okay, cool. Last up, we have Rockstar Games, who have finally revealed GTA 6 after many years. 10 years plus after the release of GTA 5. The game's new trailer will be revealed in December, so potentially it will already be out before this this podcast. But I mean, this is not a gaming podcast, but we talk about you know, major news that happens within that world from time to time, and I think this is the biggest development in gaming, like in ages, right? Because GTA 5 is the best-selling game of all time, I believe. It was the highest selling entertainment product of all time, I believe. Sold like 1 billion in like, you know, a day or two.
Yep.
And even a decade on, if you go to Twitch or Kick or whatever these streaming sites are, it's still like the most popular game, like you know, GTA, Fortnite, whatever. I haven't played GTA 5 in probably close to 10 years actually, but it's one of the, it might even be the last game that I completed. It was that good. Yeah, I played the full thing, and obviously with the online service, they've made hundreds of millions, if not billions, from the online thing. The online thing is a little bit weird because you can live a complete life on GTA Online, like, and I know people who their real life sucks. Like they've got no money, their health is failing, they've got no relationships. But in GTA Online, they are rich. They got a Lambo, they got a great house. So there is a dark side to the addictiveness and how great this game actually is. But not looking at this through a gaming lens, I guess more from like a tech lens. What are your thoughts on GTA 6? Why don't we start with yourself, Nick?
Wait and watch. I think GTA was addictive. I played that, I think, many years ago, and I remember I still remember. I must have played GTA for hours at stretch.
Yeah.
Hours, literal hours. I didn't have kids back then. It was a fairly easy life. And then I went for a movie, and I realized I was actually driving on the road like I would drive in GTA. It just bled through in real life, honestly, and that was like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Thought, okay, I have to reduce my number of hours I'm spending on GTA.
Stop shooting people on the street.
I didn't do that, right? So,
that was just me.
but
then.
no, I think from I'm looking at it from a tech lens. GTA technology, even back then, the physics, the locomotives engine, were fairly advanced. They were fairly ahead of the curve back then.
Yeah.
It felt real. And now I think they've patented a new locomotive technology, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
And so what that brings to the gameplay experience, I would definitely want to watch that. And I would love it if they spoke more about the tech they have developed or built to build this amazing game. Yeah. And that's where I would be most interested. And I would particularly love to know if they used any kind of machine learning or Gen AI in the development of this game.
Yeah.
And that's where my interests now lie, rather than looking forward to playing this game now. Probably will skip this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll play it for the purpose of trying to understand the tech really, and then probably get lost in a rabbit hole, and then a few months later my business has failed. But in GTA 6 Online, I'm a billionaire, so that's the important thing.
That's
right?
the important thing.
Yeah.
Let's start planning an intervention now, honestly.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm a massive gamer, so I play video games all the time, still do. It's probably how on my free time, it's probably how I spend the majority of my free time, to be fair.
What do you play?
All sorts of stuff. I play, at the moment my obsession is Counter-Strike, but that's because I'm old these days, and that was the OG game. But, so like my perspective is like, number one, I know you said that, this is not a game podcast, but I think the hype around this is massive, but it's driven by how commercially successful GTA 5 and GTA Online are. I had a look at, I think Take-Two's the company, their last earning calls. The lifetime revenue from GTA Online was $7.7 billion.
Wow.
That's the lifetime revenue of this product, right?
Of a game, not even a game.
Yeah. It's a live service.
Of like a DLC of a game, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at the gaming industry as a whole, right, and I know this because I play so many games, there has been a complete shift in how video games are sold to consumers. Back in the day, And when I remember buying big box PC games or PS1 games when I was a kid, it was you go to the store, you buy the disc, and you play the game, and like that's the product. There was no patches, there was no service, that's the game. Then they make a new one 2 years later, and that's the sequel. Now, the model is put out a product, make it a SaaS service essentially, sell season passes, freemium, right? Yeah. Sell season passes and drip feed content into it over the lifetime. What Rockstar and Take-Two found with GTA Online is that the gameplay was so addictive and people loved it so much that they could increase the longevity of the game's lifespan by literally 10 years. The only reason why GTA 6 has not come out earlier is because GTA Online has made too much money. It's been too successful. So and that's why in the past there was a few years gap between the sequels. You're seeing this with every game now. Yeah. Every game is coming out with a live service part of its business model. They take, they go on forever, years and years, decades. We're seeing that really commonly from the biggest titles because from a commercial perspective, it makes so much money. And I'll give a last example. There's a YouTuber I watch who's a former Blizzard employee. Okay. And he worked on the
World of Warcraft Blizzard.
Yes, exactly, right. Now owned by Microsoft, surprisingly. Yeah. And he worked on their real-time strategy game, StarCraft 2. Okay. Right? And he put it this way with the live service microtransaction model, is that they sold a microtransaction collectible in World of Warcraft that was $15 and it was a horse collectible. Okay. That horse collectible in World of Warcraft made more money than the entire StarCraft 2 game made.
Wow.
So that just goes to show why, and he worked on that product for 2 years. I'll send you the clip so you can include it. It's crazy that. And that just goes to show why every single entertainment business, every gaming company has pivoted to this model because it makes so much money.
Yeah.
7.7 billion. That's all you need to know.
Do you want to start a gaming company, boys?
That's it.
I think one thing that I'm really looking forward to with this is, firstly, it better be good. Like if this is shit, then I'm gonna be so disappointed, right? One thing I'm really looking forward to is with the NPCs. In games in the past, there's not much there. There's like a few lines of dialogue. You talk to them, but now that you have tools like ChatGPT, and like Whisper for like voice and everything, what's that going to mean with the NPCs? Can you actually have a full conversation with them and then there's stuff which isn't coded into the game which can happen just based on your responses? And I mean, there's so much that they could do with AI. I feel like GTA 6, if they nail it properly, could be the first ever game which really uses AI to make it pop. And another avenue, which I don't think they'll do right away, but hopefully later on down the line, is I'd love to see a GTA 6 VR, at some point. The tech is nowhere near as powerful yet to make it. I mean, on a Meta Quest 3, you ain't going to run GTA 6. On a Apple Vision Pro, perhaps, maybe. We're getting there. But do you see AI and VR, kind of the last two big hypes, really? Do you see those potentially playing a role with this product? What do you think?
It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of time.
So
it's a natural evolution.
Yes, but
of
maybe
things.
later, iterating.
I think it's not if, it's when for me, and that will be just dictated a lot by how the evolution of technology really happens. So for me, the short answer is it's a question of when, not if. Now NPCs, look, I haven't been into gaming for about 10 odd years. I only started playing again a couple of months ago, 3 months ago. I'm playing this game called Assassin's Creed. I've always played Assassin's Creed. Yeah. And I'm observing.
Which one are you playing?
Whatever the latest one was. Where he's now moved on. This game is based in Greece.
Yeah. Odyssey, I think.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
The Odyssey.
They release some, like with Assassin's Creed. It's like every 6 months there's a new one or something, right? So yeah.
But even in that gameplay, I'm observing how NPCs have evolved from when I used to remember them. Right. The NPCs are actually engaging more with the main characters, and even though they are not a part of the story, but you can go and have a conversation with them. And NPCs move around, they do stuff in the background that you won't expect them to do. So for me, with a sort of a 10-year gap between games, I can see a massive shift. And I think with Gen AI and AI now becoming more mainstream, I would love to see what happens to NPCs in games like GTA. I think for me, it's a question of when, not if.
Yeah. Okay. What's your take?
I think I would agree that the question is when, not if. I think already some of the premises that AI affords the business world have been experimented with in games. So like if you take the genre of, let's say, roguelite, which is based on the game Rogue, which is all about basically a gameplay loop with randomly generated levels.
Okay.
Like
Interesting.
that's been that, but that's not machine learning necessarily. They just kind of have a seed and they go, okay, the level changes each time and you get a bit more powerful. Loads of popular games based on that model. I think like, could you evolve those algorithms using a powerful AI model, like 100%? So that's like just going beyond the NPC thing, which I think is a great application for that potentially. Like actually building the gameplay loop around that. I mean, there's a great space game which had a lot of controversy around it called No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you heard of that, and that like one of the main things in that game was the kind of the randomly generated worlds.
Yes.
So like that's another great application of the core gameplay loop itself actually being informed by an AI model. So I think for sure when, not if.
Okay. Final question before we wrap up: will GTA 6 sell more than GTA 5? What are we predicting? I'm going to say probably yes. Just the hype is so much. I mean, I'm going to buy it. I'm probably not going to play it. But I'm going to buy it, right? What do you think, Nick?
I think over its lifetime, it'll probably make more money. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What do you think? It's a tough one.
I'll tell you why I'm not sure.
Because you got to beat number one. Like, you know.
I'll tell you why I'm not sure. So the GTA 5's lifespan as a product went through 3 console generations. It went from Xbox 360 to Xbox One or PS3 to PS4.
Oh, series.
Right? Yeah, and then it went from PS4 to PS5 and then also the PC market, okay?
Yeah.
Because the lifespan of consoles has now elongated to like 10 years plus itself, they don't have this potential to remake money, I think, across 3 console platforms like they did for GTA 5. Also, 7.7 billion on a product is enormous. It's the highest grossing entertainment product of all time by a long way. So to replicate that is not an easy feat. Just because it's GTA 6, they have to hook people back in. There's a lot of competition. They, like Rockstar themselves, released Red Dead Redemption 2. They put an online version of that. That sold incredibly well in terms of a disc product, but their live service model for that game didn't even come, probably not even 1%.
Are they even doing it still? They're
No,
not even
I think
updating it.
I don't think so, or they've just put it on kind of live support. So
Yeah.
it's not, I don't think this is a dead set that it's going to make more money, but equally like the hype is enormous. If they nail it again, potentially. But I think they had some like overall market trends that helped them get to that product before, which I don't think they'll see for this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great gaming answer. I can tell that you like the game.
He's a serious gamer, this one.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
See you
Thanks,
next
everyone.
week. Bye.
Cheers.
Hey, thanks for watching this podcast. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, comment, etc., etc. And I'll see you in the next episode.